Hey, I'm Tim Sheaf, a 27-year-old professional parkour athlete from Derby, but currently living in London, turned animal rights activist. I started a ethical clothing company called Ethics and Antics, and for me, I wanted to start clothing that represented the message I want to stand for, which is the vegan message, but I didn't want it to be so obvious, because some days I like the t-shirt activism that just says vegan, but some days I want to be more subtle with my approach, and I don't like it to be sat on the train and people judge me because they go, "Oh, that vegan's shouting out that they're vegan again." So I wanted something more subtle that vegans could get, but other people wouldn't necessarily get it. So you're representing your message, but you don't feel like in people's faces with the message. At the same time, we call it ethics and antics because we wanted to represent the ethics side of things, but we want it to be fun as well. So it's sort of playful. So first design we released was vegan backwards. I call it Nagiv. And so that is sort of antics. It's like playing with the word vegan. And another one we released was V-Gang, which is, again, for vegans, we're part of the V-Gang. But for non-vegans, they don't see it as saying vegan or anything. And then the third release was Vibrant Earthlings, Giving Animals New Strength, which is an acronym for vegans. So again, it's the subtle vegan message, but it sort of defines for me what a vegan is. And so I like to do subtle t-shirt activism, and at the same time, we give a percentage of proceeds to an animal sanctuary. Yeah, it says, we salvaged waste cuttings from organic cotton clothing, shredded them, blended and with the recycled plastic bottles, and turned them into your sweatshirt. It's all recycled. I only started to become interested in ethical clothing after I got into veganism, because first things first, you deal with what's on your plate, and you can look at the ingredients of food packets and it's easy to know whether there's animal products in it or not. Then you can look at your plate and know if there's, part flesh of a dead animal or not. But clothing is a harder one to sell and harder one to be aware of, and I had some suede shoes and leather things, and I slowly got out of them and started to look at, I even bought some hemp shirts and that from a market in Cambridge, but I'd never really looked too much into it myself. But once I started to delve into it, there isn't loads of options, but it's growing, and even the t-shirt supplier that we use, I've seen they're getting more and more business, and it's great to see that these companies that are making sure that all the employees get treated fairly and they're not using animal products for the inks and things like that, they're all getting more and more support, and I think it's really a shift in mentality. I look at a lot of the current brands that are really trendy, they're like Tumblr famous, like Stussy and Supreme, and they don't stand for anything. They stand for blog cool, and that's great, and that's part of 21st century, the early 21st century. That's the trend that's come about. But I really think the future of clothing and fashion is going to be ethical based clothing and fashion. People are starting to support the organic companies, the authentic ones, the ones that and something that at the same time stands for something. So our clothing brand, it stands for something, and I think people are starting to want to represent that more and more. I think that one of the first shirts I bought that got me into sort of ethical clothing and at the same time representing a cause was I bought a Sea Shepherd shirt at one of the first Veg Fests I ever went to, and when I started to wear that, I thought, I could wear a Nike Tick or Puma, or I could represent Sea Shepherd. People that know what that is, they give you support, and when I see people wearing Sea Shepherd, I always go, "Hey, good job! Like, you're supporting Sea Shepherd," and I think that stands for so much more than just a sports brand. As you get on more of a spiritual path, certainly you want to consume less, and I just moved house and I got rid of loads of clothes and stuff. But at the same time, the clothes that I did keep that passed the test for me were the ones that stand for something, were the vegan t-shirts, not the sports brands and things like that. So yes, I look, and I think people should definitely strive to be more minimalist and own less items, but if within those few items they own, they want to represent something, then they're representing that on a daily basis. We released a t-shirt, the t-shirt we sell that says the V-Gang on the back with the peace symbol. We made a hoodie as an aftersight, so we'd already done the t-shirts, and we thought we should probably really just buy a few hoodies just to see, people might want that, and we ended up selling more hoodies than t-shirts. Now for us that says a lot, because people can wear a t-shirt one day a week and then they'll have to wash it, but they can wear a hoodie every day. I have like 15 t-shirts and I have 2 or 3 hoodies that I use. So if someone wants your design on a hoodie, then they're even more in relation with that, and they want to represent it even more because they can wear that on a more frequent basis. So people don't have to buy items, and I'm not saying please buy items. We don't, do what you want to do. But if you do feel like your connection to that item and it represents who you feel, and you want to do that regularly, then it's good. Yeah, one time I had, well, the Nagiv shirt, the backward vegan one. I was in the airport and an elderly couple started talking to me, and they were like, "What is Nagev?" And I explained it to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and it started the conversation. And they're like, "Oh, my granddaughter's vegetarian. I don't understand it, but that's all right if you guys want to." So it's fair enough. It does start conversations. I don't wear vegan stuff as much, but when I'm running, I always wear my vegan runners top. That's one place when I feel like everyone wears a running shirt that can represent a message, and I think it's a good place to do it. And the other day I was running up the canal path, and everyone was cycling down it to go to Canary Wharf, and it was like 8:30 in the morning, and I was just aware that a lot of people going past were like looking at my shirt, not at me, and so it was like a subtle bit of activism in their day, because you never know how many times people need to see the word vegan before they start to not be negatively pushed by that word. Because I think in the beginning, for a lot of people, including myself, you're scared of that because it feels like it challenges you, and it makes you look at your own life and your own decisions, and you feel a guilt that you feel is cast onto you by the vegan, but it's not. You soon realize it's not them that's casting the guilt, it's your own understanding of your actions, of your consequences of your decisions. And so I like to, I've gained more confidence in pushing the vegan activism shirt message. Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially with our vegan one, a lot of people want to wear it. They're like, "Oh, I'd love to wear that. I like that design, but I'm not vegan." So they feel bad, but at the same time, it's a good way for friends to be supportive and go, "Hey, I'll buy you that shirt if you go vegan for a week or something." And it's nice. And we don't say you have to be vegan to wear our products. You're still representing the message. But yeah, people are more interested in the idea of it. People want change, they just don't want to change, or they're scared to change themselves. So you never know what comes first, the chicken or the egg. So they could go vegan and buy the stuff, or they could represent the message, and then slowly that filters into their life, and they go, "You know what? I can do this now."